A long time ago, in a nice quiet village, there lived a wealthy merchant. He lived together with his daughter, who was named BAWANG. The merchant's wife had long since passed away. He was very fond of his daughter because she was obedient and kind-hearted. And BAWANG's life was very happy. One day, as he came home from traveling, he brought a woman and her daughter along with him. He wanted to marry that woman. So, BAWANG now had a stepmother and a stepsister who was named MERAH. When her father went to trade, her stepmother and MERAH would treat BAWANG like a servant. BAWANG did all the work that was ordered by her stepmother. She cleaned the house, cooked, washed clothes, and looked for firewood. If BAWANG's work went wrong, her stepmother would punish her by not feeding her. Every morning, her stepmother and MERAH took turns shouting,
"Hey, BAWANG, wash my clothes."
Not yet finished washing clothes, BAWANG would then be called by her stepsister.
"BAWANG, prepare breakfast now. We are hungry."
Okay, I will do that.
Because BAWANG worked so hard and was punished so harshly, her body became thinner. One day, BAWANG's father returned home and fell ill. He was very ill, and BAWANG was very sad because of it. She never left her father alone. However, God decided differently. BAWANG's father died.
Dad, don't leave me alone.
While BAWANG wept and cried, her stepmother and MERAH were excited because the property and house of BAWANG's father now belonged to them.
Look, MERAH, he finally died.
Yes, Mom, we will be rich.
BAWANG's life was miserable after her father died. She no longer had her father to love and comfort her. Her stepmother and MERAH further tortured her. BAWANG tried to be patient, but sometimes she would cry at night.
Oh God, please help me. Why are they always evil to me?
One day, BAWANG went to the river to wash clothes. Suddenly, a red scarf had floated away in the river, and BAWANG did not realize. Then BAWANG decided to look for her stepmother's scarf. If she could not find the scarf, her stepmother would scold her. In the middle of a road, she met a man who was washing his car and then asked him,
Excuse me, did you see a red scarf floating down the river, sir?
A red scarf? Oh yeah, it was taken by an old grandmother who lived in the mountain.
Then BAWANG went to the mountain, and she found a wooden house. She knocked the door, and an old woman opened the door.
I'm BAWANG, Grandma. I'm sorry for bothering you. But I'm looking for my stepmother's scarf. Did you see it?
First, let's go in, dear. I will give you the scarf with one condition. You must help me.
Yes, Grandma, I agree.
All day, she helped the grandmother to do all the homework. She did all the homework happily, because she was doing it in her house. Day by day has passed. The time for Bawang Beauty to return home has come. The grandma gave her the scarf like she had promised.
This is the red scarf you are looking for, dear.
Thank you, Grandma. You are so kind. I will never forget your kindness.
One more thing. I want to give you a pumpkin because you helped me. There is big and small pumpkin. Choose which one do you like.
Bawang Beauty chose a small pumpkin because she also had to carry a basket full of clothes. But she couldn't open the pumpkin until she got home. Bawang Beauty did what the grandma said. Arriving at home, Bawang Beauty's stepmother and her sister scolded her. After that, they saw the pumpkin and ordered Bawang Beauty to cook it. Bawang Beauty took a knife and split the pumpkin as her stepmother ordered. Surprisingly, the pumpkin was full of sparkling and expensive jewelry. Her stepmother and her stepsister surprised. They were curious about where Bawang Beauty got the pumpkin. So Bawang Beauty told them everything. Hearing Bawang Beauty's story, they decided to do the same thing with her. In the next morning, they went to the river and bring a scarf. After arrived in the river, they threw the scarf into the river and followed it. In the way to the mountain, Bawang MERAH complained to her mother because she felt tired. She wanted to come home, but her mother got angry at her. After a long time, finally, they were arriving at the old grandmother house. The grandmother welcomed them warmly. Impatiently, they asked about the red scarf. Same with Bawang Beauty. The grandmother will give them the scarf with one condition. They help the grandmother with no sincerity. They complain all the time. Bawang MERAH and her mother finished their work at the grandmother's house. The grandmother gave the scarf to them and also asked them to choose which one they wanted, a small or a large pumpkin. Of course, they chose the largest pumpkin. The grandmother asked them to not open the pumpkin before they arrived at home. In the way home, they were curious and impatient. Finally, they split the pumpkin. How surprised they were. Inside the pumpkin there were venomous animals. One of the snakes bit them, and no one could help them. Then Bawang MERAH and her mother died because of their greedy.